Hey everybody, Chad here. In this video, we're going to talk about law of attraction, but we're going to talk about why doesn't law of attraction work? I mean, more so, why do we think law of attraction don't work? Because we've always heard like attracts like, or we think it don't work, or we hear like, well, even though you think law of attraction don't work, it's still working. We want to sit there and say, well, how? I don't see any good come into my life. I want this, but it's not happening. This always happens, and I can only talk about myself. I've studied this for years. I don't look at myself as a guru, just because I know that I still struggle with this. Okay, what we're talking about today, I still very much struggle because I'm a thinker. I mean, I like to think. I like to analyze and overanalyze. And when you're a thinker and you like to analyze and overanalyze, there's a pro to that, but there's a big con to that. And the con is what we're going to talk about today. And it's something I truly kind of really struggle with. And it really affects law of attraction. It really affects what you really want to attract when you start overthinking and overanalyzing, because your mind starts drifting. We don't know it, but our mind starts drifting off into the negative. And let me give you an example. I mean, it's hard to think of an example. I'm trying to, let's say if I want to think, with law of attraction, let's say if I want to, I'm in Thailand right now. So let's say all I thought about was Thailand, and I thought about vacationing here, maybe transitioning here to kind of be here for 2 years, like where to stay and all this stuff, and really loving it, and how to transition and how to stay here as long as possible, or if I want to live here, how to do it. There's two ways it can go. I can state directly what I want. I focus on the positive, and that's all I think about. Okay, doing my visas and COEs and all that stuff, and being here, and it's a great time, and finding joy in it. I'm doing what I want to do. I'm doing what I love. I'm staying at places I love to stay. Have terrific views and stuff like that. That's one way. Okay, now a second way, what can happen is, for me, I can start thinking, if I start thinking negative in this situation, or I start overthinking this situation. And sometimes you might talk to other people, because of course I talk to other people here because I'm trying to learn Thai culture. I'm trying to learn with immigration. I'm trying to learn visa status, different visas I can have, different visas that are easy to get or hard to get, so forth and so forth. There's certain visas that I can stay here and have. There's other visas that I have to leave the country, get the visa, and come back. You know what I mean? So it's very easy, if I overthink, my mind will drift into, it's going to be too hard. What happens if this happens and I have to leave the country? What happens if this happens? I have to go back to the States and then reapply, and if I come back, it's just a waste of money. And that's kind of what starts happening. Especially if you talk to people, they're giving you good advice, but sometimes at the same time, there's a negative undertone to it. Then you start picking up that negative undertone. Then you start to worry. You start to worry if it's not going to work out the way you want. And I think we all, to a point, struggle with that. Some of us struggle more. I think sometimes with that, I can struggle more because, I love to overanalyze. And overanalyzing is something I try to control. It's hard, but you have to kind of, mind control is one of the hardest things that we can try to develop. Just really controlling our thoughts, really controlling what we're thinking about. So, going back to giving you that example, going back to why we think law of attraction don't work. It does work. But really what's happening in this type of scenario, really what's happening is, besides me thinking the positive, besides me thinking about what I want, okay, all the time, and keeping anything negative out, if you say, Chad, what do you want? with this example with Thailand, I would say, well, I want to stay as long as possible. I want to stay for 2 years. I want to get an education visa, learn Thai language. That way I can stay for a year. And then after that, I can get another education visa and stay another year, and so forth and so forth. That's what I want, okay? And if I focus on that, and that's what I want, and that's going to start to manifest, okay? Because I'm keeping my mind clear and focused on about what I want, and I'm always thinking about what I want. I'm not thinking about what I don't want. Now, let's kind of flip it a little bit, okay? What happens when I start thinking about what I don't want in this situation? Okay, that's easy to do. I start thinking, well, it might be hard. I might have to leave the country. They might deny me and deny my visa. There's a whole bunch of hoops you got to jump through. It's just difficult. See, what happens is in that scenario, my mind is shifting. So, besides focusing on what I want, I'm starting to focus and I'm starting to overanalyze what I don't want. What happens with the law of attraction is that when we start focusing too much on what I don't want to happen, what happens, it ends up happening. Because that's what we're focused on. Then on top of that, when we start to focus on what we don't want to happen, we tend to be very emotional about it. We tend to kind of start to worry about it, and worry gives an emotion, and the more emotional you are to something, that's going to make it manifest even faster. It's going to make it happen even faster. That's why we always say, well, law of attraction is always working. It just depends upon what we're really thinking about most of the time. And that, my friends, is really what's happening, really why we're not attracting what we want, or we think we're not attracting what we want, because we always attract who we really are. You know what I mean? That's why I say we always attract who we really are deep down to the core. Our self-talk. Our self-talk is what kind of damages the law of attraction, because we might be able to fool other people, we might be able to play other people, we might be able to lie to other people and say, oh, everything's fine. But then when we go home and we have negative self-talk all at home or all day long, then that's what we kind of get. That we're kind of attracting that negative self-talk. And that's why you always hear that it's about mind control. You have to learn how to control what you're thinking about. And I can tell you, it's very, very hard. It's difficult to really control your thoughts and not let your thoughts drift. And your thoughts are always going to drift. It's not going to be perfect. But for me, this is why they always tell you, do personal development, read books on law of attraction, read books on positivity, because your mind is going to drift. You're going to have days that you're really good and you feel like you're very positive, your mind didn't drift that much. You can have days where you just fucking off and you're just thinking negative circumstances all the time. You're just like, what's going on? But that's why it's so to being in a habit of studying and reading, watching positive videos, to keep that in the back of your mind. Another thing that kind of comes up with this, besides doing a separate video on this, another thing that kind of comes up is that, well, Chad, what happens, what do you do when the negative self-talk starts happening? Well, this is what I do, and this is what I do if I catch it. And I don't let myself go down a slippery slope and I start getting depressed or worrying and I get anxious and I can't eat. That's what I was going through right now, going through this past week, because I just felt so anxious, and I'm eating, but you get anxious and you get worried and you get that knot in your stomach and you're not eating very good because you're anxious and worrying too much. And the reason why I'm anxious and worrying too much is because I'm letting the negative self-talk happen too much throughout the day, besides controlling my mind and besides just repeating, saying, hey, why am I thinking about something that I don't want to happen? I should be thinking about what I do want to happen. Then once I kind of repeat that, it kind of shifts my focus. It kind of shifts, that makes me more positive. And that's what I can tell you. I'm kind of giving you a long example, but But what I do is I stop myself and I just repeat what I want in that situation. I repeat it out loud. Sometimes you're by yourself or whatever. I don't whisper it. I don't just repeat it in my mind. I repeat it out loud. This is what I want. This is what the Thailand thing. If I start going down a slippery slope and thinking about all this stuff that can happen, I stop myself. I literally sometimes be like, stop. I'll be like, no, I want to stay here. I want to stay here 2 years. I want to be on this visa. It's going to be easy. It's going to be effortless. You might have to jump through hoops, but it's going to be easy. It's going to happen. That's what I want. And I just I might repeat it for 5 minutes. This is what I want. This is what I want. I want. And that keeps my mind focused. It keeps me positive, puts me in a positive state. Then as I go throughout the day, once I feel that negative thinking start to creep in, I repeat again, this is what I want. So I flip it. That's the best thing you can do. We're all going to have negative thoughts. We're all going to not always think positive, but we don't want the negative thoughts to overrule the positive. Because once it starts to overrule, really that's what you're going to attract. You're going to attract what you're thinking about, and you're constantly thinking about what you don't want to happen, and that's what's end up happening, because that's what you're bringing energy to. And that's kind of, and the reason I did this video is that's something I was really truly this past week really truly what I've been struggling with. And when I kind of stopped, like even this morning when I kind of stopped and kind of felt like the mental trap I was in for the whole week, that I was too focused on what I don't want to happen. Okay, I need to be focused on what I do want to happen. That's how that's what I need to do. I need to focus on what I do want to happen, not what I don't want to happen. I need to focus on the positive what I want to happen and not what I don't want to happen. Okay, so once you shift your mindset, and in the beginning, even for me, for this week, and I've been in this mental flipping zoo up in my head. When you go too many days, you're just always thinking negative. I mean, it can be hard to twist it. You're basically telling yourself, it feels like anyway, you're telling yourself every 5 minutes, I want this, I want this, I want this to happen, this is what I want to happen, this is going to happen. I'm so happy and grateful now that I'm in Thailand. I'm so happy and grateful now that, I have my visa, my TR visa. I'm so happy and grateful now I can extend it. I'm so happy and grateful now I'm going to do my educational visa. I'm so happy and grateful now that I'm buying a motorbike. I'm so happy and grateful now. And I start repeating those things, what I want. It shifts me a little bit. It gets me away from thinking what I don't want. And other than that, my friends, I think I kind of think I'm rambling on and on and on about this, but I just wanted to share that with everybody, and hopefully that helps. You can always comment below, give your suggestions, what works for you, what don't, what you feel like you struggle with, and we're kind of all in this together. We're all learning this together, and we might be at different stages. Some people might be doing it for a long time, but it's just because you've been doing it a long time, it doesn't mean you don't struggle, because we're all going to have circumstances in our life that we're going to struggle. It's just how we handle that struggle. It's really what it's about. It's how we don't let that struggle destroy us. We don't let that struggle slip us down, a 3-month negative slope. We can recover quickly once we know kind of what's happening. And mine kind of lasted a week here, and once I was just sitting out, and I was just kind of cleared my mind. I was sipping on some coffee, and it just came to me kind of like what was happening. I was so what was happening, what I was going through, and what I was so focused on the negative, so worried about what was going to happen, or it's not going to work out where I want. So worried about it, that I was bringing so much emotion to it, and it just dawned on me. It's like no, I need to focus on positive. I need to focus on what I do want in this situation, and other than that, my friends, hopefully that helps, and I'll see you And I want to say see you in the next episode, but but I'll see you in the next video if you follow me and stuff like that, or you see other things. But anyway, take care and control your mind. Work on that. And other than that, I'll see you guys later, and take care.